Welcome back, folks, to the WP-Tonic show. It's episode 339, and we've got a really great guest this week, folks. It's Vals Geisler. And Val, would you like to quickly introduce my co-host is shaking her head of my, even though I practice my own butchery of our guest's name.
Geisler.
Oh,
yeah.
God. Val Geisler. I do apologise, Val.
No, that's all right. It's not the easiest name. I'm not a Smith.
Actually, it is quite easy compared to some of them. But
I'm no Denwood.
Oh dear, it was all going so well. Val, can you quickly introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Vals Geisler. I am an email conversion strategist, and I work with B2C software and e-commerce businesses on lifecycle emails. So that looks like onboarding campaigns, retention campaigns, anything that is that like campaign cycle. Those are the emails I live and breathe for. I am weirdly obsessed with email and do everything I can to make it better and more human.
Right, I'd like to introduce to my semi-cruel co-host, Cindy Nicholson, but she was right as well. Cindy, would you like to quickly introduce yourself to the listeners and viewers?
It's a good thing my last name's easy for you to pronounce, Jonathan. Nicholson, you kind of can't go wrong with that one.
It's just, I'm going to have to, it's becoming psychological now.
Yeah, that's the problem. Hi, everyone. I'm Cindy Nicholson. I'm from thecoursewhisperer.co, where I help entrepreneurs who want to create online courses, create raving fans from them.
That's great. And before we have our main conversation with Val about emailing, onboarding, emphasis on membership websites and course creators like yourself, listeners, I just want to quickly tell you about one of our great sponsors, and that is WP Fusion. And what is WP Fusion? In your technology stack, you should have two main parts, which should be your WordPress website and your CRM. And basically what WP Fusion puts the communication between WordPress and your CRM, and WP Fusion supports over 40 different CRMs, is it puts it on steroids, especially if you're dealing with a membership site. It enables how you can send different emails to different parts of people that go to different parts of your membership site. It's really amazing the different things you can do, and it's really easy to set up. So go to the WP Fusion site, and the great thing, they're giving us a great coupon code which is only for you, listeners and viewers. If you use WP-Tonic, or uppercase, one word, you get 25% of any of the WP Fusion packages, and that's solely for you, listeners and viewers. So I suggest you go over, buy one of those packages and start using it with WordPress and your CRM. So into the conversation, Val. Emails with emphasis with people that got a membership website. What are you seeing people doing slightly wrong? Maybe that's a good start to conversation. What do you think, Val?
Oh gosh, that is a can of worms.
Well, do you want to start with something else, or do you think it's...
No, it's so I write email onboarding teardowns on my blog, and I am a email hoarder. I collect emails, and I'm the one that's out there signing up for your lists and investigating what you're doing on.
Oh, you're that person.
Yeah, I'm that person junking up your subscriber count. But I'm just one person, so it's not too bad. But I do see a lot of good things happening in email. And I see a lot of mistakes being made, and I'm very careful to say that it's not bad things that are happening in email. There's no, I'm not a believer in best practices, but there are better practices, and there are better ways to do email. And every person will tell you, every email expert will tell you something different about what works and what doesn't. Someone's going to tell you HTML-based templates and tons of images and a hamburger bar and looking like a website inside of an email, all those things that's the cutting edge of email, and that's what you should be doing. And someone else like me would tell you plain text emails convert a lot better. And so I'm not saying don't have images or GIFs or videos or anything you want, just to make them more text-based, because they're more friendly, they're more human. It's received as a person reaching out to a person and not a business or a corporation that wants my money. It's less transactional and more relational. So I think that's the biggest thing that I see happening. And even for e-commerce businesses or product-based businesses where you have something physical you want to show off, and even for courses, you want to show off this beautiful interface you spent all this time building, and these worksheets that you had somebody create for you into PDFs, and you have all the beautiful images, and you want to show those off in your emails. I'm a big believer in knowing the difference between transactional and relational. And those relationship-based, relationship-building emails should really be text-based. So not text only, but text-based, meaning like 60% text in that email. And then those transactional emails, the ones that are more sales-focused or, focused on a cart abandonment or even a receipt, those can be more image and graphic heavy. Maybe that's 60% graphics in that case. But knowing the difference between the two types of emails you're sending, and then even striking a balance between those. So you're not only ever sending transactional, and on the other side of it, not only ever sending relationship-based, or you don't have a business, you have a hobby.
That's great. Cindy.
Yeah, so it's interesting because when it comes to online courses or membership sites, I'm intrigued by your specialty being in onboarding. So, if we can kind of make the link to, somebody signs up for a membership site or their online course, that initial communication, I think, is really crucial to help, the individual want to continue on and complete the course or stay engaged in the membership site. So, based on your experience creating, onboarding emails, what kind of piece of advice would you give to, course creators that, want to create a really positive onboarding experience for their students?
Yeah. So there's no magic formula. It is different for every single audience. And I swear that one day I'm going to give a keynote at an email conference, and I'm just going to walk out and say, it depends, and test it, and just walk off the stage. Because that's kind of the bottom line with email, is that you always want to be iterating, and it really depends on your audience. However, I have a bit of a formula, something I call the dinner party strategy, and it's just a good way to think about email onboarding. So the dinner party strategy is applying what you might do if you were hosting a dinner party in your home to your onboarding experience through email. So that looks like, when somebody comes over for a dinner party, you welcome them into the home. Hopefully you have your front light on. You take their coat and maybe offer them a drink. If they've never been to your home before, you let them know where the bathroom is, or show them around a little bit, and offer them a place to sit and relax and enjoy their just being there. And that's the way you want to start your onboarding experience as well. So that initial email is just a warm welcome. You are in the right place. I'm so glad you're here. I want to get to know you better. So you're not going in with a sale right away, pushing any particular product right away. If they've already bought your course, because we're talking about the onboarding experience of once they've made a purchase, so they've already bought your course, they've already signed up for your thing. So once they're there, just welcome them. They've made the decision. You want to make sure they feel really good about their decision. They feel good about coming over to your house for dinner. So then maybe you serve an appetizer. And in the case of email onboarding, that looks like, here's a little bonus piece, something I created that is maybe buried in the heaping pile of content you got inside the membership site that I want to make sure you get a taste of. And so sending that over as, here's a little taste of what's to come. The next email, the next thing that happens at a dinner party is a main course is served. So everyone's seated, you've had your appetizers, maybe your salads, and you serve the main course. So now, this is the third email of the welcome series. Now you can really dig into the course materials. Where should they be in the process? What should they be experiencing? And that varies depending on, again, your particular product and whether it's a membership site or a course. But you're just now presenting the main concept that you are that you're tackling. So then after the main course is served, maybe there's some side dishes that go with that. And side dishes to me are more like bonus content. Oh, hey, so you're here in this membership site, or you bought the course. Did you know I have a podcast? Or I have a YouTube channel. Here's our Facebook community, or here's the forum section of our membership site. Those little bonuses that help them engage even more. So side dishes always complement the main course. So you want to make sure that it's like a complement, something that they are getting more value out of. Then there's dessert. And so the dessert, hopefully there's dessert at your dinner parties. So dessert in your onboarding strategy is, just another way for them to engage. It's that yummy little thing. Maybe you offer a bonus one-on-one call, or some kind of bonus that they can get during that onboarding period only, right? And then an invite back. So the invite back, just like if you have people over to dinner, hopefully they enjoyed the dinner and you did too. You want them to come back. So you do the same thing in your onboarding sequence. You're always encouraging them to come back in, experience the product again, experience more pieces of the course, more sections of the membership site, and just continuing to keep them engaged. So that's like the initial onboarding sequence. Then there's retention that goes beyond that. But getting those sets of emails out, that's six or seven emails, out early on will really establish the relationship as one that they can trust you. They know you're not there to just push information down their throat, but that you're there to be of value to them and serve them. And that's really what the dinner party strategy is all about.
Yeah, no, it's true. I think it often gets overlooked. The people worry about the content and all of the technology, but they're not thinking about, what they can do in those first initial stages of building that relationship. So the dinner party analogy is kind of a good way to think about it in terms of what stage are they at right now and what should I be offering? So that's good.
Yeah. And, it's really about helping them get comfortable. And I think as creators, we're so excited to share all of our knowledge, everything. But I built all of this information, especially if you have a membership course that maybe or a membership site you've run for a period of time. You might think, I have all this stuff to give them. And they don't want all of that stuff right away. They'll get it over time. You just want to build that relationship so that they do stick around and keep wanting to get stuff over time.
That's great. You've made me hungry, Val. We're going to go for our break, folks. We'll be back with our great conversation with Val Geisler. And it gave me the opportunity to have a snack, won't it, folks? We'll be back in a few moments. We're coming back. I was hungry. I've had a snack. But so continue the discussion. So I thought that was fabulous, what you said in the first half, Val. It was a great explanation of a sequence of email and how you should approach it. So, one of our sponsors is WP Fusion, and you got a lot now with Active Campaign, Drip, there's loads of them, about segmenting your lists and sending. You got any thoughts about that? Because the only thing is, it's a bit like running before you can walk. I think a lot of people get very intimidated by this new possibilities in a way. You've got any kind of ways, insights about how somebody should approach after they've done that series of 6 email that you described in the first half, how they should utilize the CRM?
Yeah, so a lot of people get very intimidated by the idea of segmenting, and it tends to stop people before they've even started. Now, email marketing service providers have gotten our software to a place where we can do all of these things, and it's very similar to that dinner party strategy where you don't want to overwhelm people with all the information right away. And so if someone's getting started with email marketing, just get started. Send it to everybody. Don't worry about segmenting. Just get some emails out there. Get comfortable with emailing people, writing for email, all of those things that can help you feel like, okay, I'm seeing this email thing work and pay off, and I'm building relationships. So now how do I take it to the next level? And that is where segmenting comes in. So my first tip is don't start with segmenting unless you've been emailing for a long time and maybe you're starting to build out a new course or membership site and you want to build segmenting in from the very beginning. But once you've gotten started and you feel really comfortable with email, then you can look at segmenting. And segmenting is simply sending the right message to the right person. So it's saying, the tag on these subscribers means that they don't need this particular email or this particular message. There are some of these email service providers offer what they call conditional text, where within one email, you can have different paragraphs for people depending on the tag that's applied to them. And if hearing that sentence is overwhelming, then just ignore this whole thing of segmenting for now, right? But if it's something that's interesting to you, then start to think about how you might change your messages based on how people are tagged. For instance, right before this recording, I sent out an email to my list about 2 different webinars that I'm hosting, one webinar, one workshop. And so people who are already registered for the workshop got a different paragraph in the middle of it. It says, you're already registered, so you don't need to do anything. Versus people who aren't tagged as registered, they got, here's where you can register and save some money in the process. So, thinking about that experience of the individual message and helping people feel, again, that it's a relationship, it's a one-to-one, and segmenting can do that when you do it right. If it's overwhelming and if it's done rushed or poorly, then it can actually be harmful. So it's better to just ignore segmenting if you're overwhelmed by it. Get some help. Read some documentation, attend a webinar, ask somebody who's an expert in it before you do it. Try some segmenting on a small group of people, see how that works out, and then advance your skills from there. It was years before I tried that, like conditional text inside of an email. I just did segmenting entire emails before I got comfortable enough to know what liquid text was, how to change things. So, again, if it's overwhelming, leave it and say, that's nice for everyone else. I'm just going to send an email and know that your software most likely has the capability when you're ready for it.
Oh, that was great. Thanks for that. Cindy.
So again, I send messages out to my list, email messages. And so sometimes, I face that blank kind of screen and thinking, what should I write about? Do you have any thoughts or advice around, if you are facing that kind of writer's block, how to overcome it when you go to send a message to your audience?
Yeah. My favorite trick is to put a person's name at the top of the email. Also, get out of your email program. So write in a Google Doc or something, somewhere that is more designed for writing, and then you can copy paste into your email program. But at the very top of that document, put someone's name. And so if I'm writing an email to you, Cindy, I would literally type Cindy at the top of the document and then write a message to you. If I'm writing to you about my workshop, then I'm going to say, hey, Cindy, I know I've talked about this before and you might have seen a tweet here and there, but here's the details on this workshop. There have been some questions from some other people. So here are my, frequently asked questions and answers, and just write the email like you're writing to an individual person. And then when you copy paste it into your ESP, then you just take that name out, make sure you take that name out and do the personalization first name. But that's the easiest way to get over the writer's block of what do I even write? Because ultimately we want to build that one-to-one relational experience, and putting someone's name on something is the best way to do that from your end.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It's funny. It applies to that whole tip applies to a lot of things, especially if you're going to be on video or anything like that. Is just imagine you're talking to one other person, not, sending it to multiple people, and just have a conversation with them. It's really what you'll have. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just being human. Email is not complicated. It's something we all do all the time. For some reason, sending an email to your sister or to, even a business colleague, and you can just dash off an email real quick. You get totally blocked when you go to send it to a list of people.
Right.
So don't think about it being, some people say on MailChimp, the little monkey high five is a little intimidating because it's like, did I do good? I don't know. Just don't think about it being thousands of people or hundreds of people. Think about one person.
That's great. I wanted to ask you a question about, I do see you, like yourself, I'm not a connoisseur, but I do see clear trends. And one of them, especially if you go to a possible course that you're going to sign up and they've got either a free lead magnet or they've got a free mini course, and you sign up, you get a series of email. They're long form, almost always text, and you get one almost every day. Until you either unsubscribe or you sign up for some paid product. I see that trend almost everywhere now. Does it really? What's your thoughts about it? Because it kind of puts me off a bit, because it seems I haven't built that relationship that we've been talking about. That dinner party metaphor has been totally broken, but I see this all the time. Got any thoughts about it?
I think it's the audience, the places that you're looking.
I'm just going to the wrong places, am I?
So it is a pretty common tactic, and I tend to refer to it as the LinkedIn white bro tactic. It's very common in that space of online marketers, typically men, typically white men, typically men who are on LinkedIn all the time, or Facebook, or writing these long posts, and they replicate that in email. It is a very hardcore marketing strategy, and it's something that was taught to a large group of people. I don't know the original method, but
just want to interrupt. I just call it the kind of click funnel.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yep. Totally. And it's I think that the reason that I see it so often with that particular group of people is that maybe it's something that just feels more comfortable. And this could be a male-female thing. But I know that men sell in a different way than women do. And also men receive marketing in a different way than women do. So part of it is knowing your audience and knowing if that is a tactic that will work for your audience. If that is your audience and that works really well, then do that. Follow that model. If it worked on you and you are your ideal client, then follow that model. People have swipe files for a reason. So, download some of those things and collect those emails and see what that model looks like and try and, recreate it in your world. But I would say for the majority of people, even even if you are not a marketer by trade, people are getting savvy, and we know when we're being sold to, we know when we're being marketed to, and you have to be a little bit smarter than that. So there has to be relationship building. There has to be room to breathe in that relationship. It's like going in on the first date and asking to marry someone, that's selling right out of the gate. If you have the right audience built in, you can sell right out of the gate. If you have the right relationship beforehand, before they ever sign up to your email list. But a lot of that is more like top of funnel marketing and lead gen, the way that you are interacting with people online in general. If you're coming in kind of cold to a large number of people and just hitting them with that, I'm not against long form emails. I think the length of the email, it should be whatever it takes to get your message across, whether that's 12 sentences or 1,200 words. It can be anything in between. I've seen over 2,000 word emails come through, and I've read every single word because each word led me to the next one, and I wanted to keep reading.
I would never read anything like that.
Right. And so, but I wonder though, if somebody who you really admired, who really had your trust and your interest, sent you a 2,000 word email, if you would read the whole thing. Or maybe if they offer you an option to click through to a website, maybe you're more comfortable reading it as a blog post. And so it's not about the length of the email and the amount of words that are in it. It's about the content. And it's about the frequency, and you just have to test. Some people's email lists can survive a daily email, and that's what they want. And that's also what they expect. You're setting those expectations in that welcome email and saying, I'm going to be in your inbox every single day. And so what does that look like? Setting and resetting expectations, knowing what they can tolerate, quote unquote, tolerate, and testing it. Test a daily email, see if it works for them, for you. I have a friend who just went through this process, and he was doing a daily email every day but Sunday, and he found people weren't opening his emails as often. His open rates dropped on Saturday, so he stopped doing the Saturday. And then he personally wanted to take a little break from the daily emails, so he switched to a Sunday only. And, I'm sure at some point it'll reiterate and switch back. But each time he's resetting expectations with his current subscribers, and then with any new subscribers on the opt-in form, what they can expect. And I think that that's the most important thing. Setting expectations, knowing what your audience and you can tolerate, and testing it, seeing what works, going off of those open rates and the interest and clicks.
Oh, that's great. We're going to wrap it up with Val, but you've been a fantastic guest, Val. I've really enjoyed the discussion. We're going to have some bonus discussion with Val, which you'll be able to see on the WP-Tonic website and our YouTube channel. Val's been gracious to say she can continue the discussion for a little while. But Val, how can people find out more about you and your words of wisdom?
Yeah, sure. I'm at valgeisler.com. It's VALGEISLER.com. You can also search Val email conversion strategist and find me. I show up at the top of Google searches for that. And so you can head over there. I have, like I said, email onboarding teardowns there. So you can see what other people are doing and maybe what to do and what not to do. I talk about what works and what doesn't work. And a lot of them include swipe copy that I wrote for here's what I would write instead, or where you can fill in the gaps. So you can swipe that copy and use it yourself. If those companies aren't using it, so you might as well. And sign up to my email list. I send those out to everyone, and then I also send out those personalized conditional text emails based on the tags that you have.
Well, I'll be signing up. Right. Cindy, how can people find out more about you and what you're up to, Cindy?
Yeah, if you're looking to create an online course and need a little bit of help putting it all together, you can come find me at thecoursewhisperer.co.
And you want Thanks. And if you're looking for some help with your learning management system, Lifter or LearnDash, or you're interested in setting up a membership website, just go to the WP-Tonic website. We've got loads of resources, interviews, great people like Val. And if you want a direct chat with me, you can book that directly on the home page, and it's free. And I'll see if I can help you. So thank you, Val. And we're going to wrap it up now, folks. Hopefully next week, or I'm sure next week, we'll have another great guest like Val that will give you some insights on how to make your online course a real success. We'll see you next week, folks. Bye. So, Val, one question I was going to ask you, because you got your own, am I correct in saying you got your own course?
So I have a couple. I've been through iterations with courses over the years, and I actually have a version of the dinner party strategy course out in the world, but I'm actually about to pull it down. It's dated, and that's the that's the trouble with content creation in general, is making sure that it's always up to date, and I'm doing the same with my blog and all of that. So I'm going through that process in the next month or so.
So I've got so go on, sorry.
No, and then I was going to say I did produce a course recently for another organization, but it's hosted in their own platform. So
right.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going to ask you. With your experience, would you still use WordPress, or would you really be looking at one of the SaaS platforms like Kajabi or one of the others? What do you, in your own mind, I'm fascinated. I don't know if you're so fascinated, if you would still look at WordPress or you would look at one of these SaaS products.
Yeah, so I actually work with a number of those SaaS companies since they're all mostly B2C. A lot of them are my clients, so I'm not going to choose one over another. No. But I think that owning your own content is always a good thing. And so working within WordPress, within your website, it makes sense. It's where people want to be. You can easily redirect them to other products and offerings that you might not be it might not be as easy to do on another platform, unless you house everything in one place. So there are a number of platforms that are all in one, right? So they're your email, they're your marketing, they're your memberships, they're
trying to do everything, can't they?
Everything in one place. And the pro to that is that you don't have to go to all these different places, and you probably save money, and it simplifies things. The con to that is that if you're scaling up or down in one area of your business, it makes it really hard to do that, and you just end up not using portions of the platform when you're paying for it. So it's really about where your business is, how consistent your business is. If you want to be able to move things up and down as you go, I believe it's easier to use different parts and pieces. So having a separate email platform from your WordPress website, from your memberships, from your payment portal, all of those things that you can parse out. I think I probably pay more in fees doing it that way, but I do like having things, for the most part, pretty separate. I do use WordPress for my website. I switched there about 6 years ago, and I absolutely love it. I love it for my blog. I love many of the membership and course platform plugins and add-ons that go with WordPress. It definitely has its place. And again, to me, it's just about how steady is what you're doing, and consistent is what you're doing. And sometimes that even means, like, if you're just starting out, the best place to start out is in WordPress, where you already own it. You already know the ins and outs of the dashboard. You're not learning a new system. You're not trying to convert all these other things. All you have to do is add a plugin and you're good to go. And that's sometimes the best way to go.
Oh, I think that was fantastic. You did a much better job than I've attempted to explain that. I did that a couple of months ago with Cindy, and I don't think I did a great job. But before I pass it over to Cindy, just a comment. I think about its ongoing dilemma. Do you use a kind of Swiss Army knife solution, or do you use something that is a container, but you can choose best of breed solutions? But there's always pluses and minuses between either choosing a kind of Swiss knife solution or what I've said, the best of breed. Over to you, Cindy.
So I'm just curious, Val, how you realized that email was your thing, that you wanted to help people with email.
Yeah, so that's the other course that that really kind of kicked off my love of email. About 6 years ago, I ran a virtual assistant business, and a big part of my role in people's lives was helping them with their inboxes. And through that process, most of them were using Gmail in some capacity. And through working with my clients and then also my own inbox, I developed a system of filtering and folders and ways to make Gmail work for me. So I didn't feel like my inbox owned my life. And that was, I would say, it was the beginning of my email journey. I built out a course called Gmail School. I did host that on my WordPress site. It's just on some password protected pages, very simple. And where I didn't even use a plugin, it was just that simple of password protected pages, and that was it. So I hosted Gmail School, again, something that's outdated and needs, especially with the new Gmail interface, everything needs to be updated. But in that process, I was running my business and ended up working in-house at an email marketing service provider, and ran content for them, did all of their email marketing, learned everything I could possibly want to know and more about email, from deliverability to formatting to how to run an email list. And in working there, and then my background in customer experience and working as a virtual assistant and project manager, and really understanding that customer journey, I just merged all of those things when I left that email service provider and my in-house role and went out. I was doing some freelance marketing work like a generalized marketer, and I just kept feeling myself drawn towards these life cycle email projects. So I just went all in and said, this is something I love. Stop being ashamed of loving email and being a email geek. I think I was shying away from it, and I just started leaning into it, and it's been so much fun. I love my job every day.
That's awesome. It's funny because it's like, wow, email, you gotta love it to be able to spend the time.
You do. And I was at an email marketing conference recently where it's a room full of email marketers, 500 of us. And not a single one of those people intended to get into email marketing.
Right.
You just fall into it. It's assigned to you and you realize you love it, or you have this collection of skills and you end up doing it and loving it. So nobody went to school for email marketing, but we could probably start a university with the amount of knowledge that we all have.
That is true.
To kind of wrap up, what do you see any trends coming in the next year around email marketing? Are there anything you're sensing you've seen lately?
Yeah, I do think that personalization and that human element is coming back to email. It's already started. You're seeing more and more personalization going beyond, hey, first name, that kind of thing. Trends will come and go, emojis and subject lines, GIFs and emails.
Hate them.
Yeah, and some people love them. And again, that depends on your audience, right? So if your audience loves it, then do it. And everyone has their individual opinions. But what we can all agree on is that when we get emails that feel like they're very personal, whether they came from a big brand and they're this HTML formatted, templated email, or what feels like more one-to-one text-based email, either way, if they feel personal, we're more likely to respond to them. And those are the emails you want to open, the ones you don't avoid in your inbox. So simplification, personalization, those things, those human elements are really coming back to email. And it's what makes me so excited about the future of email.
Yeah, I think it's like a lot of things in marketing. It's you don't have to, but I think if you go down the hard road of knocks, you learn quickly that you should do this. Is that you really got to understand your audience to some extent and their preferences, haven't you?
Yeah, being a business owner means being like a psychologist and a detective and a social worker and a copywriter. And you wear, I mean, when they talk about all the hats you wear, it's not just like, oh, now I'm doing my accounting, now I'm doing my marketing. You do a lot of other things too. And understanding the way people think is one of the best things that you can do for yourself as a business owner.
Well, thanks, Val. You've been an excellent guest. I really enjoyed the conversation. You must come back in the new year. And
I will.
Part of it. And I apologise. I got better, was it? Geisler. I got better, didn't I?
No.
Geisler.
Geisler. Oh, God. I need shooting.
Like a bunch of guys.
Guys, I just need shooting, don't I? But you took it in good heart. I've had a bad road the past couple of weeks with our pronunciations, but there we go. It wasn't done intentionally, and I thought you took it in good heart. It gave a smile to my co-host, though, did it, Cindy?
Cindy was fun to watch while you were butchering my name.
I do tease her, but she is a dear. So thank you so much for coming on the show, folks. We're finishing our bonus content, and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.